Hi, once again, this is Jerry Amranick. I'm the author of Babe Ruth, A Superstar's Legacy, now available on Amazon at Amazon.com in both print and an ebook, and also at the site BabeRuthLegacy.com. Well, today we have another Babe Ruth Legacy interview, and my guest is Kevin Keating, who also has a new book out. It's called Waiting for a Sign, Highlights and Inside Stories from a Lifetime of Collecting Baseball Autographs. Well, Kevin knows a thing or two about autographs. He is an acknowledged baseball superfan, but in addition to that, he is the principal autograph authenticator for a company called Professional Sports Authenticators, PSA. Kevin is an interesting guy. He went to the U.S. Military Academy at West Point, served in the U.S. Army, and attained the rank of captain. But long before that, when he graduated from high school, he already had a collection of more than 10,000 baseball autographs. So, Kevin, what is it about you and autographs?
Well, I started collecting, by the way, Jerry, thanks for that fine introduction. I started collecting autographs when I was 10.
Yeah.
And actually started getting them in 1970 when I was 11. But I was given my first autograph when I was 10 when my dad came home with an autographed baseball, which he presented to me.
Yeah.
At that point, I was already a huge fan of baseball, and I determined that's what I wanted to be when I grew up as a baseball player.
Right.
But until I discovered how to acquire autographs myself, all I could do in terms of collecting was to collect baseball cards, which I did
Right.
in 1969.
Yeah.
By the time I discovered how to actually go get autographs and get them through the mail and in person, baseball cards became secondary to me, primarily only as an interest in acquiring them to get signed.
Yeah.
They became a medium for acquiring autographs on.
Okay.
So that said, the real difference to me between collecting various different baseball-related memorabilia like cards or pennants or programs or ticket stubs or whatever
Yeah.
is simply that an autograph presents the collector with a very physical acquisition, something that physically ties them to
Sure.
the person.
Okay.
So it's a physical connection, and
Sure.
I think that's really the appeal. Now, if you're buying an autograph, you still own, technically, when you get an autograph of someone, no matter how it's acquired, you own a small sliver of that person's life, and you have
Yeah.
to visit.
No, it's true. True, and there's a lot of slivers out there with Babe Ruth. So before we get into that, I want to ask you just tell our listeners about PSA, Professional Sports Authenticators, and we've done one of our interviews with Joe Orlando, who runs that. But just tell us about the company, what it does, and exactly what your role is with them.
Well, I'm the principal authenticator. There's currently 3 authenticators. We authenticate all kinds of autograph material. I think it's fair to say we go well beyond sports at this point.
Right.
I've done documents dating back into the 1300s.
Wow.
And, of course, a large percentage of our business is sports-related. Then there's a large segment of that is baseball. And then, of course, there's always Babe Ruth. Last night, for instance, at 10 o'clock at night, I was shown a Babe Ruth autographed baseball that was being submitted to us in Minnesota.
Yeah.
And I was asked for my opinion on that. And the bottom line is, no matter where we are, where we set up, what we do, invariably we get presented with Babe Ruth material, whether it's authentic or not.
Right. Now, in the sports memorabilia and sports collecting industry, I mean, Ruth he's in his own category, really. And now we're specific to autographs here, so I gather, is he also in his own class when it comes to autographs?
I would say so. I mean, he's really the kingpin he's the John Hancock of sports autographs, no matter what sport you're speaking of. Ruth is the John Hancock of the declaration of sports in this country. So,
right.
Every serious baseball autograph collector, no matter what you're collecting, if you're just collecting Dodgers or you're just collecting Yankees autographs or whatever your little niche might be, really to complete your collection, everybody needs a Babe Ruth.
Yeah.
Because he's such a significant part of baseball history, and his name recognition, has only really grown since his passing in 1948.
Yeah, well, actually, that's what my book is about. It's about the legacy of Ruth on many different levels, one of which is the sports collecting and memorabilia, and of course, that involves autographs. So you authenticate autographs, and well, let's start first of all with the number of Babe Ruth autographs. I've heard it said, of course, that they say he invented the home run, and they also say he invented the autograph. Now, during his heyday, from when he came into professional baseball, and especially when he joined the Yankees in 1920 until his death in 1948, it is said that he was the most photographed person in America, and he signed more autographs than anyone else. Now, you gave me a figure that I found astounding. You said during his heyday, it is estimated that he probably signed about 2 million autographs. How is that possible?
Well, I've been asked so many times over the years, like, how many Babe Ruth autographs are out there?
Right.
I always begin my answer with, it's impossible to know. I mean, there's no way that anybody could possibly know
Yeah.
how many times he signed his name, and then from that universe of autographs, how many still exist.
Yeah.
But it got me to thinking, really how many might be in circulation. And the more I thought about it, the more I really wanted to try to quantify an answer and be able to back it up somehow. So I started thinking about it, and I realized that, from all the autographs I've seen of Ruth, and I'm only talking now about the ones that I deemed are authentic.
You're right.
From all the authentic autographs that I've seen of Ruth, I can't even begin to count how many I've seen either being offered for sale somewhere or that have actually passed through my hands.
Mm-hmm.
And so in estimating how many might actually be out there, because I've probably seen tens of thousands of Ruth autographs over the years. And if you go to any major sports autograph auction, of which there are countless throughout the year.
Yeah.
You go to any of them, they'll always offer multiple items signed by Ruth. Now, I personally have seen everything. I mean, I'll just give you a little bit of a list. I've seen all kinds of baseballs, softballs, multi-sign balls, team sign balls, album pages, 3x5s, government postcards, napkins, cloth napkins, paper napkins,
Yeah.
hot dog wrappers, bats, caps, hats, ping pong and other battles, baseball gloves, banjo and drum heads, checks, receipts, scorecards, event programs, menus, business cards, train schedules, hotel stationery, hotel registries, matchbooks, cigarette cases, playing cards, wallets, postage
Right.
stamps, postal covers, bowling shoes, and even a dumbbell.
Right.
I've seen all these things signed by Ruth.
Yeah.
It begs the question, what didn't the guy sign?
Yes.
Now, considering all this, it occurred to me that if Ruth signed his name, and what I mean by that is, it's one thing to sign an autograph, it's another thing to sign a check. Both can be regarded as an autograph, even though one was done, in terms of signing a document, another
Yeah.
was done, for a fan as an autograph.
Yes.
But for our purposes, we regard his signing his name as an autograph. So that said, if you combine all the documents and all the autographs that he handed out over his lifetime, if he just signed his name a couple hundred times a day between 1920 and 1998, which was really the heyday of his stature as an icon in America,
Yes.
was at that time, during that span, he was arguably the most famous person in America who couldn't go anywhere without being recognized. And he was known to be very affable and accommodating for fans who wanted to meet him and memorialize their encounter by getting an autograph.
Yes.
That said, if he only signed his name 196 times a day on average during that span, he would have signed his name more than 2 million times.
Now, when you first gave me that figure, even 196 a day, I thought that seemed incredible. But when you explained it later, it probably is not incredible.
Right, because he was known to sign everything all the time. So wherever he was, there was a huge demand for him to sign. He liked that. He obviously liked that. He expected it, and he accommodated.
Right.
I've never heard or read of any story about Ruth turning down an autograph request. Now, clearly, he must have turned down requests at various times, but he answered his mail.
Yeah.
He stood on the railing at ballparks and signed and signed and signed before before games, after games. He would sign on his way from the clubhouse to the car.
Even during games, I understand.
Right, even during games, you're
Yeah.
right. He would sign on the train.
Yeah.
Everywhere he went, people knew he was going to be there.
Yeah.
You know, he was the first sports figure that did mass signings for promotional purposes.
Yes.
So when you think about it, you're right. You know, a couple hundred a day, it's not that large of a figure. Surely there were days when he signed nothing or very little, and then there were other days where he surely signed thousands of autographs. So I think that's a reasonable number, and if he did, you know, meet that threshold of 196 a day, that would equal to over 2 million, and then if you would trick that by 50%, that is to say there's a million or so out there that have either been lost, destroyed, or to this day unfound,
Yeah.
or forgotten about somewhere in an attic. You still have over a million in circulation, and it just wouldn't surprise me if that were the case.
Yeah, and that obviously is worth a lot of money. Now, I know for a fact the one baseball that he signed from the 1927 season, the year he hit 60 home runs, was sold at a show for $388,000, a single-signed baseball.
Well, there is a single-sign ball that did bring that amount. I don't think it was. In fact, I can tell you that ball's not attributed to a 1927 season.
Oh, really? Mm-hmm.
No, but it is considered the high. I believe it's the highest graded PSA graded Ruth
Right.
single-sign ball, which is what really fetched that type of a value.
Okay. Well, let's talk about the value. So, of all the autographs, and you say it goes beyond
Single-sign.
sports and baseball with you, is his autograph the most valuable in terms of a monetary value?
All things being equal, yes. I say that because you know, there are different Ruth signed items. You know,
Yes.
the PSA highest graded single sign ball, which has gone for more money than any other single sign ball, to my knowledge.
Yes.
Of all genres and all baseball players. You know, Ruth signed items of all kinds, whether they're contracts or, you know, Gaudy baseball cards or photos. All things being equal, yes, he tends to garner the highest value. You know, there are exceptions here or there because it's difficult to, even from one Ruth autograph to the next, it's hard to compare them because it might one be on a napkin, one might be on a ball.
Yeah.
One personalized, one might not be personalized. All these different elements and several other factors with the value ultimately, but I think in terms of a general answer, yes, Ruth commands the most money.
So if you had a George Washington autograph or an Abraham Lincoln autograph, you're saying all things equal, Ruth is probably more valuable.
Yes, all things being equal.
Well, that's quite a statement. So let's talk a little bit about.
Let me add one more.
Yeah, go ahead.
And there are considerably more Ruth autographs available.
Yes, I'm sure.
Washington.
Yes, I'm sure. So, well, in that sense, if something is scarce, you would think it would have more value. So you're saying there are more Ruth autographs out there than anyone else, and they still have the most value.
Right. Although, you know, obviously, you know, if you have Lincoln on a scrap of paper or Lincoln on a copy of the Emancipation Proclamation,
Yeah.
you know, have far different value ranges, and that's why it is difficult in some cases to make, you know, across the board comparisons.
Yeah. Well, you also know that the Babe Ruth jersey from the 1920-21 season, it sold at auction in 2012 for $4.4 million, and that's the Guinness World Record for an item of sports memorabilia. And I don't know that anything by Lincoln or Washington, any article of clothing, sold for that amount of money.
Exactly, and the other thing is that Ruth jersey, when it's resold, will probably go for even more than that.
Well, I talked to the guy who bought it for his client. We talked not long ago, and he said today it's probably worth more than $10 million. But it's a good investment. So the idea of validating autographs, I think you once gave me a figure that about half the rejection rate is about 50% for Ruth autographs.
You know, it's difficult to say. I really don't like to speculate on numbers because it's just something that you pull out of the air.
Yeah.
Suffice it to say that we see a lot of failed attempts to mimic Ruth's autographs. So wherever there's money to be had, there's a motivation by unscrupulous people to forge the material. And Ruth, you know, he's a high target amongst forgers.
Yeah.
But it's difficult for forgers to get it right because they not only have to replicate the autograph, they've got to replicate the period of the autograph, the medium it's signed on, the ink, etc. I can tell you this, though, as an interesting anecdote.
Yep.
Lately, we've been seeing a lot of laser-printed Ruth autographs on baseballs. So now they're trying to recreate the ball using a laser printer device, and then actually take a template of a real Ruth autograph, and using a laser printer, they print the Ruth autograph on the ball. So that's most recent attempt at getting it right.
Do you have any comical stories or unusual stories about Ruth autographs or items that you mentioned some of the unusual items he signed? Any stories attached to any of these autographs?
Well, I don't know if this is a funny story, but it's kind of a poignant story for me. I was contacted 5 or so years ago by an elderly woman who said she wanted to sell her family heirloom, which was an autographed Babe Ruth ball
right.
that her father had given to her in either 47 or 48. Of course, Ruth died in 48.
Yes.
But by 47, he was dying and he was very sick. And so I met her in a coffee shop local to my house, and she was sitting there. She was dressed up. She's probably about 75, 80 years old, and there next to her was this brown paper bag, and I knew the ball must have been inside. And I sat and listened for 20 or 30 minutes in great painful detail about the day she got the ball.
Yeah.
And she recalled everything from the time that she woke up to the time her dad got home and presented her with this baseball. And of course, by the time she was finished, I couldn't wait to see this ball. So she pulled the ball out of the bag.
Yeah.
And I was expecting this mint, extraordinary Ruth ball, but it was signed by one of Ruth's aides at the time, his nurse or wife or someone who was signing for him at the time.
And you could tell right away?
I knew immediately as soon as my eyes met the autograph. I knew it was what we call a secretarial autograph.
Oh, okay.
Secretarial meaning that it was someone Ruth authorized to sign autographs for him during that time.
When he was ill, yes.
Correct. And so I had to explain to her how, and very delicately,
I guess.
really hurting her feelings, that I wasn't challenging her story and that I was quite certain that everything she told me was true, but there was just one more element I had to insert, which was that her father, when he got the ball signed, he didn't see Ruth sign it, and he clearly had handed the ball off, and when it came back to him, the person, with Ruth, who was signing for him, had signed the ball in her dad's.
Okay. And just to make the point, this wasn't an effort of fraud or anything else by the people at the time. It was just the fact that he was ill and there were so many requests, and they wanted to handle all the thousands of requests that were for his name.
Exactly, and that particular secretarial version is real. I've only ever seen it from 47 to 48. And
when he was ill, yes.
Right, it's all in the same man. Now imagine this. Babe Ruth, the Sultan of Swat, the most famous baseball player of all time, is known to be dying. He's still a very public figure. The fans are already mourning, the upcoming loss of the Bambino. Could you imagine the number of people who would have written to him then to wish him well and to try to get an autograph before he passed on?
Yes.
I mean, the pressure on his time must have increased voluminously during the last year of his life. Sure. As
it was during, a better part of 3 decades, I guess. So,
right. Yeah.
So, is it fair to say you are probably the top expert on Babe Ruth autographs?
No, I mean, I'm not going to say that.
Okay. Could I say it?
What's that?
Could I say it?
Well, people are going to make their own judgment on who's the best at this or that. I'm not going to go there, but I will say that there are a handful of people that are, considered experts in this.
Okay. So let's get to the latter portion of what I want to ask you about here. Why does Babe Ruth last? And why does he endure? This is what my book is about, the legacy. And we're talking about autographs and so on, but But many people, they pass on their luster kind of fades. It hasn't happened with him. Why do you think that has been the case?
Well, I think because he left such an impact, with his life on the game and also on Americana. In 1930, I think it was 32, he signed his contract with the Yankees and famously somebody said, one of the writers said, "Babe, you're signing for 80 grand. You're making more than the president."
Oh, yes.
In the middle of the Depression. And Ruth's response was, "Well, I had a better year last year."
Yeah.
To me, that really says a lot about, how he viewed himself. He knew where he was in the world and how America just idolatrized this man.
Yeah.
And he accommodated his fans and gave them every reason to love him because he loved them back.
Yes.
And I think the legacy that he left with his life is what's really helped perpetuate him well beyond that. And his mark on the game is still very much present. I mean, even to this day, there's only two guys that hit more home runs than he did. And he didn't even start playing regularly until, 6-7 seasons after.
That's right. He was a pitcher. Yeah.
Yeah, because he would have had a Hall of Fame career as a pitcher. So, it's very difficult, I think, for anyone to argue that Babe Ruth was not the greatest baseball player of all time, simply because you can argue someone might have been a better hitter, and you can argue someone might have been a better pitcher, but Babe Ruth would have been a Hall of Famer as a pitcher or a hitter.
Right.
And it's just difficult to argue that he wasn't the greatest overall baseball player in the history of the sport. And baseball remains a national pastime. It's not monolithic like it was in his lifetime. So in his lifetime, he was the it guy.
Yeah.
And to this day, his impact on the game and on the period of his life, the first half of the 20th century, is still very much intact, and it'll always be that way, in my opinion.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Kevin, I want to thank you for joining us today. I'm going to say you're definitely one of the top autograph experts out there, especially to do with Babe Ruth and baseball, and I want to wish you a lot of luck with your book.
Thank you very much, Jerry. It's a pleasure talking with you.
All right. You take care.
Thank you, too.